So I want Dale to explain what you've been doing, and I'm going to start you off by saying that, far as I know, you were living in a caravan on a mountain top and you built a wind turbine. And I just would like you to just shut up and you carry on and tell us what you're doing and what you hope to achieve. And we're going to work together to get this half the country on clean energy. And if you do it now, I still haven't finished, have I? If you do it now, Dale's going to contribute money to this fuel poverty charity, because all our charities are starting to work together as well, and it will. There are 50,000 people died from cold in this country last year, and he's going to give money to this charity for everybody who signs up now. Right, so I'm afraid I've got one more thing to say, which is that our government gives £30 billion every year to the fossil fuel companies. In this way, they manage to keep level with the green energy companies. If you didn't have the green energy companies, we'd be paying a fortune. But now they're trying to stay in competition with the green energy companies. And that's where Dale is. And so let's go for the green energy, get rid of the rest, and get cheaper and cheaper. Meanwhile, it's the same price. Yeah, okay. You carry on.
Over to me?
Yeah, okay.
Well, I was living on this hill, as you said. It was about 25 years ago now. I'd spent 10 years living this kind of alternative life, living in buses and trucks, travelling around the country, trying to live in a low impact kind of way. I had a little windmill on the roof of my trailer, and I knew it was a windy hill, and I saw the first wind farm built in Britain, and I learned that electricity was the biggest single cause of climate change and all the unsustainability that comes with it. And so I thought, why don't I drop back in after this 10 years and try and build a big windmill on this hill and try and change the way electricity was made in Britain. So that was my epiphany 25 years ago. And it took me 5 years to build the first windmill. And then, just as I was about to build it, I realised that to build more windmills, I needed to get a fair price for the power, and I needed to cut out the big energy companies and become an energy company. So I formed Ecotricity in 1996, and that was the beginning of it all. And now we supply 200,000 people. We operate a model that we call bills into mills. So we take people's energy bills and we harness them to build windmills and sun mills and tide mills and that kind of stuff. And it's very much about people power, because the more people that join us, the more we can do. And we're saying to everybody has an energy bill, but you get to choose what happens with it, what the outcome is. Either it can be spent on fossil fuels, polluting the planet, lining the pockets of multinationals and friends of Donald Trump and people like that, or you can choose to have it spent with companies like us that will spend it building green sources of power. And Britain is blessed with enough renewable energy to power the whole country, more than 100%. We can power ourselves. We don't need to buy fossil fuels from Saudi Arabia or anywhere else, from Russia. We can make our own energy here. We can create that £40 billion flip in the economy. Instead of that money leaving the economy and going up in smoke, we can keep it here. We can create hundreds of thousands of jobs and be energy independent, and at the same time solve fuel poverty, because fuel poverty is about the continual rising of fossil fuel prices on the global market that people can't keep pace with. If we make it here, the price doesn't have to follow global markets, it just costs what it costs. And as you say, it's already cheaper than fossil fuels, which is subsidised to the tune of about £1,000 per house per year. If we take that away, then that doesn't work anymore, and green energy works. So that's what we're about.
And it comes from the taxpayer. You're actually paying for this subsidy.
And 40,000 people a year die from air pollution because of the way we burn fossil fuels in cars and power stations. It's madness.
But can you just tell me how you managed to grow the possibility of increasing the energy supply? Because as far as I know, you do it with investors. How do you get the money all together? I mean, I don't want to put words into your mouth. I actually don't know. How does it work that you've got the answer? What do you do you know the question? Sorry.
I do. I've got it. One of the things we do is a thing we call eco bonds. That's what you mean, isn't it?
Yeah.
And so it was about 5-6 years ago we decided that we would cut out a different middleman. Instead of an energy company, we would cut out the banks. At the time they were lending us money for about 7% and they were paying savers about 2%. And they were lending us that money at 7% and paying those guys 2%. And we said, there's no need to do that. Why don't you give us your money? We'll give you the 7%.
I haven't followed you.
Oh.
I haven't followed you. Has everybody else followed him? Yeah, okay, maybe because I'm very thick about these things.
It's
No, really.
We call it eco bond, and we're saying what we said to people at the time was, don't give your money to a bank and they'll give you 2%, but they will lend it to us for 7%.
All right.
You say you give it to us and we'll give you the 7%.
Yeah.
So cut out the
got
banks.
that. That's simple,
that's what
isn't
we
it?
do.
Yeah.
So that brought a bit of people power to the financial world as well.
Yeah, but I mean, how much do people invest? What's the smallest amount that somebody can invest?
£500.
Really? Because that is incredible. That's amazing. That means that people of this country can control what they get for their money. That's really amazing.
What their money
It's
does.
not the banks that are controlling it so that they can rip everybody off and give nobody anything. It's that we get the people who can afford to invest in it. It's not impossible for a lot of people to invest 500 quid. And I mean, I just think I don't want to spend too much time, but what I see is that what you're aiming for is people power, that we own, in fact, the whole energy system, that somehow, and how do you spread that so that eventually everybody owns the energy system and it's not just some people getting ripped off to give it to a few people? How do you do that?
I think it's the great thing about renewable energy that it works at kind of a people scale. So you can put solar panels on your roof, you can have a little windmill, you can make your own energy for the first time. You can't do that with a coal.
Well, that's difficult for people.
Some people.
If we're not telling people to put something on the roof, they can. But the quick way to get everything happening is to switch to you, to switch to Ecotricity. So how do you get that eventually everybody in the country somehow owns everything? Is there a way, rather than it belongs to a few people? This is what we're talking about, that we somehow own our own energy supply system.
Well, we used to.
Yeah.
Before it was privatised.
This is it, yeah.
So we could nationalise the energy industry again, which I think would be a great thing to do, because I think it's such an important thing, energy, in our lives, that it shouldn't be owned by multinational companies that compete with each other and take a short-term view and rip everybody off, basically. We need to take a long-term view in the way that we did before. After the Second World War, we built the national grid, we built power stations, we built a fantastic system. And Margaret Thatcher came along and just sold it off cheap.
Yeah.
And now, we've got, out of the 6 big power companies, 4 of them are foreign owned, and they're only interested in shareholders. They're not interested in the public, in the people of our country. So it's a wrong model. It comes back to your point earlier about how business is wrecking the world.
Yeah.
Capitalism is the problem.
Yeah. It's a machine that's designed to create poverty and siphon it off for the taxpayer. You have to think of our economic system like a machine. The enemies of the machine, it's not, as I said, Donald Trump, and it's not Theresa May. They operate the machine, it's true, but it's the system. They're operating the wrong system, and they don't know any other way to do it. But can I just sum up what I think you're saying? I think you're saying that we're building this company by private people switching to green energy. Then, of course, we get a bit of profit and we can spend it on extending this supply. But we're also, in order to go more quickly, we're issuing bonds to people at as small as £500. And that these bonds, after 10 years, they're making profit. And then if they want, if they want, they can have that back. You'll give them the money back. You'll give them the 500 quid back.
After 5 years.
Yeah. Meanwhile, you'll have extended your supply more, and so that's how you keep on going. And at the end of it, you seem to be saying that when we do get to the point where we've given the whole country this green energy, if we've got a responsible government, we can hand that whole system. Maybe you still help to run it, because we're going to go quick. But maybe then that belongs to everybody in the country, and the government runs it for them. Because that's what our financial system used to be. It used to be that the government worked in the interest of people. They got all your money from tax and gave it back to you in the form of the health service and helping to insulate your houses and all these things. They would give it back to you, but now they don't give it back to you. They siphon it off and give it to the business people. And I think that's what you're saying, yeah? And so when I first met Dale, I said about business, he said, I'm not a businessman. And I think that's what you mean. You just want to earn yourself a living where you deserve to be comfortable, not have stress, and carry on and live a good life. But that you're not interested in money beyond what you need.
I want to change the world, actually.
Sorry?
I want to change the world.
You want to change the world, there you are.